Hey there, thank you so much for tuning into our podcast. But before I take you to your show, I have a very small request to make. Do check out the other episodes that we have created so far. And as you know, we are available on all major music and podcast streaming apps across the world. So, whichever podcasting platform you're listening to, do hit the follow button and leave us a rating, as that will help us improve our content and reach a wider audience. And with that, welcome to the show.
Hello there. Hello, people of the world. We are back again with another episode. We dared to bring another episode to you. And like every time else, I have my co host, my co founder, my partner, and the CEO of this podcast. Priyanka Mishra, join with me. Claps, everybody.
Heyo.
Hello, you star.
Hello,
How are you
hello.
doing?
Well, uh, Sunday was good. My beloved friend came to visit me in Pune from Mumbai, so it was good.
Lucky you, huh? People come to visit from
Yeah,
different cities just to see you and how you're doing. You're blessed soul.
just
Oh.
Mexico people are missing from India, waiting for them.
Ah, maybe, maybe in sometime next year or next
Yes.
decade. You never know.
No, 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 no. Hopefully next
All
year.
right. So,
Yes.
Priya, I'd like to ask you, how was your experience of the first podcast? Did you hear some reviews from people? What did they say? I mean, I know
Well,
we just made a very pathetic episode. We just talked about some fairly random things which made no sense. But what did your friends say about it?
there were good feedbacks also. They were appreciating that, we started with something very new. And again, they also said that we dare to start with the podcast. So it was a new thing for them also. Okay, so this is a new Gen Z thing to, listen to podcast, doing your work. So yes,
I
they
won't say it's
appreciate
a
it.
Gen Z thing, because a lot of people, including me, I used to consume podcasts for like very long, like maybe it has been 3 years, 3 or 4 years. Because the main reason behind it was, I do a lot of long distance running. And while
Hmm.
I'm doing the long distance running, I just want something to be playing around. Um, so what I used to do earlier was I had a playlist that I used to play while I'm running, which included
Hmm.
all the songs and everything. So what happened is that after like 10, 12 times, I saw that, okay, the songs are same. They're getting repeated every time. And you're not getting the surprise element, like if you listen to a radio, you don't know
Yes.
which is the next song that's going to play, right?
Yes.
So same way, you're kind of excited in that, okay, suddenly the radio surprised you with some nostalgic song or something, but in a playlist you already know what songs have you added to that playlist. And while
That's
running,
yes.
it got in my head like, oh, again the same song. It's not that I don't like that song, I liked it, that's the reason it's there in my playlist. But okay, so then I thought that I need some long content which I can hear
Hmm.
and which is new. Okay,
Okay, let
which
me
is
reframe that sentence. Gen Z era has this 90s kid wala thing. So by
yeah,
that I meant Gen Z thing. By that I meant people are more interested in intellectual talks or trash talks or people just talking. So they wanna
hmm,
be a intruder. They wanna listen to like a peekaboo wala thing.
exactly.
So yeah, I like that. So yes, they
So
appreciated it all.
exactly, exactly. You just mentioned those 90s kids and all of that. Just brought
Hmm.
me to one of the amazing things, one of the amazing people who has influenced our lives in a long way. And all the 90s kids, even the kids today would be able to relate. Shah Rukh Khan completed 3 decades in Bollywood.
Uh, I think I should
What a
clap
man.
on behalf of Indian
What a man.
citizens. Charm,
Everybody,
charm.
not just Indian citizen, he is
Yeah,
like the heartbeat
global,
of so many people. A global star, true global
global.
star.
correct, correct. Still
You know,
has that charm. Mm.
yeah, I remember people here in Mexico, they know Shah Rukh Khan. They
Yeah.
know his songs. They know, okay, Chaiya Chaiya was one of his hit item
Yes.
numbers and all of that. People used to dance on the people do karaoke's and they listen to Shah Rukh Khan songs. They watch Bollywood movies. They're crazy about Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum
True,
and all of
true.
those pictures. I mean, amazing. What a
You
star.
told me
What a
that Chaya
person.
Chaya wala scenario, na, which happened with your Mexican friends, that they knew this song already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I got this post on Instagram, sorry, a story on
Mm.
Instagram where I was just grooving on one of the paragraphs of Chaya Chaya, and I got so many reactions from the Mexican friends that, oh God, this is our favorite song. We do a lot of dancing on this. We celebrate this song with our families. I was like, what? And they're, yeah, we are Shah Rukh Khan fans. It's so
Jesus.
sorry, man.
I mean, it felt
All right,
like a proud moment because they know our
exactly.
people, and that to like someone we look up to. I mean, I do. He still carries
Me
that
too.
personality. He can charm, or like Delhi charm. He is there na, on stage. It comes up. कोई भी सब फीके हैं वैसा टाइप का.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, yeah, if this podcast goes big, sometime we might have him on this podcast. Oh, that's our ambition, Priya. We gotta
Well,
reach there sometime.
we will.
Okay. So now, without wasting much time, let's start with the topics, huh? Are you excited about it?
Yeah. Yes, I
All
am.
right. Okay. So the first one, okay, this one is a bit serious one, which is happening
Hmm.
around the country and people might be knowing it. So this new Agnipath scheme that has been introduced by the government
Government.
for admission of people into the armed forces, young
Yes.
cadets from 17 and a
17.
half to 21 years old.
23.
So for the first year, it's 23 because 2 years were
Hmm.
wasted for the pandemic. So they gave
Hmm.
this kind of an amendment to the scheme that,
Flexibility
okay,
was there. Hmm. Hmm.
good. So, and a lot of people are not happy about it. And the reason is not understood um, because of their unhappiness, there's protest all across the country, most parts of the country,
Hmm.
and they are like burning public property. They're destroying public property like
Hmm.
anything. So, um, when such protests happen, it's not just the public property that's getting destroyed. A lot of private properties also dismantled, destroyed, and wasted. What do you think about it?
Also, I feel unnecessary sometimes the exaggeration towards anything which governments puts out. The exaggeration behind it, because most of those people don't even know what they are revolting against. Sometimes
Exactly.
this happens. So I have seen like lot of interviews where journalists are randomly asking people that, do you even know what is happening? From the crowd they just choose any individual, and they don't know
That's the model of
what
protest
exactly
in
it
our country. That's the model of protest. You, what is a protest? Protest is someone throwing stones, someone
yeah,
blocking the road, someone sitting down in protest. So
the
that
idea.
someone has to be collected. Those people have to be
Mm,
arranged. And
mm,
the kind of employment we have, anyone can come for like 500 rupees a day that you provide.
true.
You come and sit wherever you want.
Mm,
They don't
that
know.
bribe
So,
really
I
works.
mean, exactly. We are not here to, analyze the scheme of say if it's right or wrong. They're the head of states. They are head
Correct.
of army chiefs,
They must
air
have
force,
thought.
and navy people. Yeah,
Correct.
they have amended this law. It's not the government. I mean, no
Correct.
politician is this eligible to form such a law. There are obviously people from the field who have served their life in the armed forces, and they have came up with this scheme. So I'm not sure
Hmm.
if it's right or wrong. We are maybe not the
Hmm.
right people to judge, but the destruction of public property, the halting
Isn't
of
acceptable.
services is not right. It's just not right. I hope you saw that video of a young guy crying because his car was burned down during the protest.
Yes, I mean the like at present I'm in that age where I feel like I should have a house of my own and start saving and everything.
Hmm.
Now reaching a point where I'm actually buying it, and just in a minute someone destroyed it. Someone just in front of me doing it for a political reason involved or whatsoever.
Pathetic.
How is this acceptable? Yeah, how is this acceptable?
No, that
So
young man had nothing to do with that scheme. He's
yeah,
not from a government. He's not from someone who's made the law, someone who's involved in any form. He just parked his car, and the next morning he came down to see that his car is burned down totally. And what's his fault, man?
the vandalization, which comes hand in hand with any scheme, or like any major issue happening, and then government releases amendment, or like there are many more amendments which have been passed and were controversial, but the vandalization which happens throughout this process, the
Yeah,
mental peace which gets harmed throughout this process, people are killed also.
unacceptable.
So very unacceptable. That is not ethical. I mean, there is a reason. I know professionalism was harmed. That's the reason behind this protest. They were saying that the professionalism of the armed forces,
Hmm.
that the way it was established, it might get harmed because they are easily, in a 4 year span, you're giving that position to any candidate. That is not acceptable. That's their point of view. But I feel, again, with the way you started saying, there is nothing right or perfectly, there is nothing perfectly right, there is nothing perfectly wrong.
Hmm.
So we gotta, there is a need of our wala thing, na? That
And
was the need of an hour वैसा वाला हो गया.
yeah, need of an hour. You know why this need has occurred? Because a large part of our budget is
Correct.
going to military or the
Yes.
defense budget. Of our
Yes.
entire economical budget, large part of
Hmm.
it is a defense budget, and a large part of the defense budget goes as pensions and those services for
Correct.
the retired people.
Yes.
So in order to reduce that, so they have
Hmm.
introduced this scheme that okay, 4 years you work with us, 6 months of training, 3.5 years of service, and
Hmm.
at the age of 21, 22, or 25, when you are relieved from the forces, so actually not everyone is getting relieved.
Correct.
75% of them are getting relieved. 25% of them are absorbed in further services, and they'll continue with the armed forces. But rest 75 who are trained in a best possible institute in the country, they have
Hmm.
worked with the best professional services, are now out in the market for hiring. And I strongly believe that if a person is in the armed forces, it's
Hmm.
not just his family, but all of his surrounding becomes better because of the discipline and the aura he carries. you know so this is one thing. I mean, again, let's not get into the depth of it. It's totally as per what the big heads would have thought about it, and they brought it into the picture. But yeah, vandalization is no right. These You guys are going to serve the country, and you are
You
destroying the country's property. That's not correct as per me, because some innocent taxpayers' money is just going out of the window because of such protests and everything.
This is also, this reminded, I don't know why, this reminded me of that scene from Panchayat, the very
Hmm.
uh, heartfelt episode, the last episode of Panchayat.
Yeah.
Uh, there is a thing which they beautifully have put forward. to
Mhm.
create a very like a suspicious thing. And okay, what is gonna be there in next season? When that Vidhayak, if I'm not wrong, that Vidhayak comes into the scene and then he jumps and tries to gain that
Popularity, yeah.
connectivity. Yes, because
Mhm.
Jawan was uh, got like sacrificed because of that area is connected to under him, so he
Yeah.
wanted to get the limelight. And this dark story, and someone, this happens like in India, this happens, or in any other region this happens. So this creates a bit questionable remark that how many people comes under all of these political issues.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's one thing that differentiating India and Pakistan is. India is a
Yeah.
country that has an army, and Pakistan
Hmm.
has an army that has a country. Okay. So this is a
Hmm.
huge difference, and this is the defining difference between India and Pakistan. And this is why I, I mean, throughout our childhood, every age of whatever our existence, we have been just told good things about the army, like how inspiring they have been, their lives have been to for our country and protecting the motherhood. But it's
Hmm.
just amazing. It's just I believe that this should remain the sanctity of the armed forces should
Correct.
remain the way we have been taught,
It
we
should not
have
be
been watching.
polluted with, yes,
Should
agree.
never be polluted with politics. Exactly.
that
All
that
right, Priya, this was a heavy topic. We gotta move on to something. I mean, you
yes.
have something to talk. You have a topic
Well,
in the head.
I can think of one thing which yesterday I had peri peri French fries.
Okay,
So
that's
I
very new. It sounds new.
had so what happened? One of my friend told that there is this matlab, agency which are making French fries flavored perfumes.
What?
They have come up with this idea of making French fries flavored perfumes, and I didn't like the idea. I mean, there could have been other things or other food items or any other uh, like smell which is connected to your childhood. For example, your, I mean, it's hard to capture, but
Yeah.
like
Okay. So
mother's.
let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. So if you are to ask for your preference of any fragrance that you want in a perfume, any food item preference, what should that be?
It's weird, but I really like that curry patta, curry leaves ka, when choka is there, na, that
Nailed it.
aroma.
Nailed
Yeah,
it.
you knew that, na? I'm gonna
I
say that.
knew that. You nailed it, bro. You just nailed it. My answer would have been desi ghee, but no.
Oh yes, yeah.
No, yours is better. Curry
Mine
patta
was better.
is just on the top of the list. No questions
Also,
asked.
yeah. Also, curry patta is, even when it's crunchy, it will give a flavor. For example, yeah, I bought these fresh curry pattas, and then it got, after 1 2 days, it gets like brittle and very dry. Then
Yeah.
also, it was very like using that flavor. I made upma and poha and everything. The flavor was still intact. Beautiful part of curry patta is even if it's dry and have lost that texture, still it will give you that flavor. I think it's a versatile. I
Exactly.
just love curry patta. So
There's this thing which is said that in any food item, if you just
hmm,
add a tablespoon or something of ghee, it will just change the dynamics of the taste, entirely.
true.
In most of, if it's a dal, it's a sabji or whatever. Same way, I believe is curry patta does the magic. If you
Yeah,
just add like 4 5 leaves of it in any dish that you're making, it just
beautiful.
brings a whole lot different flavor.
You remember we used to have a dal
Of
You always used to
course.
come, yeah, and you used to say, Priya, could you please make that curry patta tadka wali dal?
I loved I loved it. So anyway,
I think that,
having a
yeah.
perfume like that, I think that people, at least me personally, I don't like body odor in any person whom I'm interacting with. You know, so that body odor comes a lot with the food that you're eating. So if your mouth is
Yeah,
stinking
true.
with whatever food you had, you would never want to
Hmm,
be sitting close to that person while you're having a conversation. You ought to always be at a distance. Just imagine
true.
that your entire body is smelling like a curry patta or a garlic or something.
Mine
And
will.
just
My guys out there, please. I mean, I'm gonna smell like curry patta.
let me correct it. She might
Let
be
me.
stinking like a curry patta.
I'm gonna make that perfume very soon. Also, I was thinking, what do you think Chef Ranveer Brar would have chosen as an ingredient?
I think
It's
dhania
very
patti.
yeah.
It has to be
So,
dhania patti.
Ranveer Brar, if you're listening to this podcast, first of all, हेलो फिर आप कहेंगे कि रणवीर आपने बताया नहीं
First of all, thanks for tuning in. We have hardly got 7 people listening to us, and you are the 8th one. So yeah, great,
you're one
great
of those
having you here.
beautiful so yeah, this is a thing. If food item is there, other than that, what do you think? Other than food item, what do you
Other
want?
than food items, see, I think flowers, because a lot of fragrance emerges from flowers, different types of
I
flowers.
would say, uh, पहले बारिश का that woody smell
The earthy
of
smell, the
the
smell
yes,
from the soil, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mitti
yeah,
di khushbu.
yes. I think
Yeah.
that should have been perfume ka. I think there are guys, there are ethers which are made exclusively. They give that smell.
Oh,
They
okay.
have that.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, you can get customized, customized ether or perfumes based on your choices. So you remember that once I went to a shopping mall, and I talked about this to you a lot of times. We joked about it.
Hmm.
So I just went to the counter of the perfume shop and I just asked them like, I want a perfume for my dad. So the sales
Hmm.
lady, she started asking me what is the type, what is, I mean, she didn't ask me the preference of the fragrance. She asked me like,
Hmm.
what is your father like? What is he in general life? What does he do with his profession, and what are his likes and dislikes in general? And according to that, she suggested me one perfume that was amazing. She was like, what kind of a person is your father? And I
Wow.
was like, well, he is a very not so outspoken. He talks very less. He just so
Hmm.
based on that, she suggested me a perfume, and I just tried it, and it was smelled amazing, just amazing.
Wow.
So
I like this
yeah,
profession.
yeah, yeah, this selection of perfume, this comes from so many different ideologies.
True.
Sometimes we just go by the fragrance. Sometimes we just, oh God, her perfume is better than mine. Which one is she using?
Mm.
So this happens a lot to me. Like, damn it, I just bought $1,000, thousand rupee. Sorry, not thousand
Hmm.
rupee, man, thousand
Well,
peso.
dollars
It's a
में बात हो रही है, guys.
no.
Someone is not in India. It's very obvious now.
I just mixed up
Where
Mexican dollars with US
okay?
dollars.
Forget your
I
roots.
No, I should have been clear. $1,000 Mexican. I just spent $1,000 Mexican on this perfume. Still, she's smelling better than me. Damn it!
Have you come across this situation where you smell something and it reminds you of a person because they use the same perfume? Do you have
Uh,
that kind of
I haven't
memory?
been romantically involved with someone
No,
for like
I'm not
last 3 decades, so
saying.
I don't remember the smell of people in that case.
No, I'm not saying with respect to like only the romantically involved partner should have been smelling each other. I'm not saying that. For with respect to smells, I meant, for example, if you remember, I told you once that Bhaiya, this is the perfume, and this perfume smells like you. I texted you that thing because I
Oh,
have this memory game with me, and I love it about myself. That
that's
even
right.
if someone is passing by and I can smell their perfume, I can recall that very moment. For example, someone was wearing Zara ka some edition. I don't remember. So I was like, this perfume my cousin wore when she was having that engagement party. I remember that event also. So this even the photographic memory and then smell memory, it is strong.
That's very sharp of you. That's very, very sharp of you. And if you allow me, talking about the sharp things and the important things in life, there's another very important thing happening in the country, and
Yeah.
that is we have some presidential elections. Sorry, we have a presidential election happening in
Yes.
next month, and we
Yes.
have got some candidates for that. So I'd just like to say it for set it up for our listeners. So from the BJP and NDA-led government, they have nominated Draupadi Murmu
Yes.
as the presidential candidate, and Yashwant Sinha has been nominated from the opposition. So Priya,
Hmm.
what do you think? Who, in your entire experience, who has been your favorite president so far?
I mean, it's unambiguous. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam.
Hands down, no questions asked.
No questions asked.
It has to be Dr. Kalam. What an
Everyone's favorite.
inspiring man.
Yeah.
What an inspiring man. Recently, I mean, I'm a huge fan. You can say a fan, follower, preacher,
Correct.
student of Dr. Kalam. Because recently I was, not recently, I've, watched all these videos 100 times. So one of those videos where he addressing the United Nations,
Mm.
harmony lies at home, that particular speech. And when the speech ended,
Hmm.
some some spokesperson from a different country, some diplomat from a
Hmm.
different country, they stood up and said that Dr. Kalam, this is one of the best speeches that has been ever delivered in the United Nations General Assembly. And I thought it made so much sense. That man is not teaching philosophy. He's just explaining you things like from a layman's perspective. Like, okay, you can understand how harmony can be brought into your house. What a man! What a dedicated person.
What a
I mean,
dedicated man.
totally, unreal, unreal. I also remember another story of him. So
Hmm.
this kind of interesting. Okay, so every president will get. They actually have uh, five cadets, five officers. Actually, there's a French term. I'm forgetting it. So five officers
Hmm.
from the armed forces. There's like two people from Indian Army, two from the Navy, and one
Hmm.
from Air Force.
Okay.
So it's called CDC, I guess. CDC in short.
Okay.
The full form is something in French. So yeah.
Hmm.
So they have five CDCs. One of them is Air Force, two Navy, and two Army. So this Air Force guy, he was in an interview recently, and he was an ADC to Dr. Kalam. So the interview asked like, "How was your experience?" And he was like, "He is one of the you know amazing personalities that will ever come across in your life." I mean,
Correct.
he just said that once what happened is, um, a like best renowned heart surgeons from entire all the all the continents and the countries in the world have to visit Rashtrapati Bhavan for a conference
Hmm.
or something, for a seminar or something, and Dr. Kalam was
Hmm.
supposed to address them. So the best heart surgeons of the world are there.
Hmm.
And next, what happens is, one night before this seminar or this event, Dr. Kalam called this ADC of his
Hmm.
and asked, "Hey, you blue guy." So blue guy, as in he was wearing the Air Force
Very yes,
um,
uniform.
uniforms. So he asked, "Hey, you blue guy, what are the latest things in the heart technology?" And he said,
Hmm.
"There's something with stems and this and some surgery, some bypass." So
Hmm.
Dr. Kalam said, "No, you don't know it all. Just study about it and come back to me tomorrow morning." So at seven
Oh,
o'clock they had this event. At 6 in the morning, he studied all night about. You could Google everything, and he just went next morning. And Dr. Kalam remembered. So yeah, what are the new technologies in heart space? So he again listed down 4 5 things and said, "No, you still don't know everything. Come to the event." And then he went to
hmm.
the event, delivered a 45-minute speech on heart technologies and the improvements that can be brought in for
Oh,
for its treatment. And the world's best heart surgeons were sitting and listening to him
shock.
like anything.
Hmm.
And one of them came up to this guy, to the ADC, and told, "This man knows more than us about the heart space than we do. How do you deal with him?" So just
Really.
imagine the level of knowledge and the preparedness that Dr. Kalam had for anything in life. It's
He was
just
on his toes for everything, for
so
every
fascinating.
field. Yeah,
Exactly. So
maybe he
fascinating.
has
I mean,
a
we have so
spark.
many stories.
Hmm.
Exactly. So many stories about Dr. Kalam, which is just, um, which cannot be covered in one episode or one podcast. It needs a dedicated podcast, just to
There
talk
is
about him and his wickedness.
there is a beautiful, very I don't know, underrated, I would say, because very like have won awards, like much appreciated awards. I'm guessing BAFTA or something, but people might not know much about it in India. I'm guessing because it's the name is I'm Kalam. If you've heard of this movie,
Yeah, yeah.
very beautiful, about two two boys who are in their like fourth or fifth standard,
Hmm.
and the guy, one of them was from a Raj Gharana. This is a story based on Rajasthan,
Hmm.
uh, Rajasthan city. They
Okay.
haven't mentioned the name. So uh, he the guy from Raj Gharana, the boy from Raj Gharana, he was denoted as Gavarsa in the whole movie,
Hmm.
and he meets uh, this uh, friend of his who used to work in a small dhaba, and this boy was fascinated with Abdul Kalam's existence, and he just wanted to meet him once in his life
Oh,
because that level of simplicity and that intelligence, he wanted to be like him.
hmm.
And because they were from a like very small village, and so people used to call him Chotu or something. So he used to ask them to denote me as Kalam. My name is Kalam. He kept his own name.
Wow.
So I'm just saying the range of people who are fascinated with his the way he used to talk, and people used to look up to him, even children. और मतलब ऐसे भी नहीं, they used to fear away from asking anything at that time also, like children used to ask him whatever they wanted to.
Wow.
That was his level of comfort he provided people to
To the
connect to
children.
him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is beautiful because children are mostly afraid of, the intimidated with such kind of great personalities.
Yeah.
And that movie showed that from a very small region, very small village, who was whose mother was uneducated, that that child knew only Kalam. So for him, his guru, his god was just Kalam. And
That's fascinating. That's just
he
amazing.
kept his name, so I just loved that movie. So
That's brilliant.
that memory.
He has been so close to students all his life that he has
True.
dedicated his life for the students, and even in his last minutes, he was delivering
Minutes.
a speech in IIM Guwahati, I guess, if I'm
Wow.
not wrong. Yeah, that was his last when he collapsed on the stage itself. So that man dedicated himself. I mean, one of the best, you can say, nationalist who wanted India to
True.
be on the top with every possible manner, like through the defense systems, through the youth, empowering the youth, talking about good things about the country when he's abroad. And this is something totally respected all over the world, and he has been one
With
of those
pure
leaders.
intent. Yes.
Yeah, one
Few
of those.
people are very few people are there.
Great, great guy. And I think the current president, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, has held
Mm.
this office very, delicately, very nicely,
Mm,
very in a very honorable way, and he
yeah.
has done full justice because this is like the highest office in the country, and absolutely amazing the way he held himself throughout his tenure. And I hope the
Mm,
next president goes that way.
yeah.
All
Expectations
right.
are I this time. I feel that. I feel that
Yeah,
there is some
because
energy
yeah,
within
there's a
this.
lot of energy and there are a lot of people who are following these things these days.
Yes.
So they are
Let's
keenly
see what happens.
observing who's gonna be there, who's gonna do it. All right, Priya, you have some other topics to talk about.
Talking about these our country related issues, jumping into very controversial again, but I think this
Okay.
should be addressed. Uh, there has been a debate about abortion previously also, and now that US government has passed this bill about abortion, like more than more than 80% of US states will be banning abortion, which is a huge remark to give, and that's why protests are happening there also, and it affected uh, many people's like direction of planning their future or anything, or to live there or not. They are also questioning that, because how will women handle this situation? How ethical is it? For example, if because it not only when a woman gives birth, it's not only just creates a financial buzz, but also the body gets affected. So everything is involved. And how can one just ban straight away that?
It's a
I
huge, huge thing for women specifically because what I believe is you know, having a child. So what I said for women specifically because it does affect the entire family also. Like in case you are married and you
mm,
are not doing well in your career, in your headspace, in your financials, and you don't want to have a child at this point. You're just not ready about
true.
it. So you gotta have that right because I that this was a constitutional right in United States until this law was passed. So which like basically affects 36 or 35 million women in United States, and that's the
Man, that's a
reason there
huge
are
number.
protests. Yeah, there's so
Mm,
many people who are at that age in their life where they
mm,
need this right. They just cannot be uh, you know not having this right, and which is in a way was constitutional for them, but now with this law coming into picture it's going to affect them badly. What I mean, what do you think as a woman, how does
mm.
this affect your mental state and your finances in a way?
I'm completely like standing up in the opposition team.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was a citizen of United States, I would have been devastated with this fact.
Yeah.
Because okay, let's just imagine a scenario where a woman conceives and then she marriage is another thing that comes in picture. If there is personal uh, like decision is involved, that is another thing. Forget that. If she conceives and they are not like financially ready, the first thing is financially ready. Second, if the woman's body is ready or not, I
Mm-hmm.
tell you why. Also, their mental condition is they are fully prepared for it or not. Because if even if the baby comes into the picture, the baby's mental health is gonna get harmed so badly that people cannot even track where the thing went wrong. If a
Yeah.
16-year-old girl is having a baby, which weirdly is common in USA, we have heard so many stories that 16-year-old is having babies, two, three babies. Anyway, so if this happens and she's not able to take care of their education after a while and they eventually unfortunately get involved into you know taking wrong decisions about for their life and straight away saying drugs and this this picture can also end up into terrorism. I am telling you why. Straight away, I use these words because
Mm-hmm.
if the child's mental condition was not okay while he was like the bringing up process was going on,
Mm-hmm.
the father was not there because there will be circumstances where father is not there.
Yeah, it can go
Uh,
anywhere. It can obviously go
Anywhere,
anywhere. Yeah.
it can trigger so badly to the child that bringing up part really hampers the mental state of that child. And this will not be ethically right if that child will create a mess in his growth years,
Yeah.
and no one is going to take responsibility for that. Is government going to come? I don't think so.
Nobody.
They
Nobody.
cannot track where the things went wrong. They cannot.
And this issue, we discussed this a lot that this thing of single moms in the western side of the world,
Hmm,
it's a issue. There's this freedom, of course, but
of
there's
course,
this
huh?
pride as well. But this is an issue. You need. I mean, you're a single mom. You're doing great. You're the best motivational person that is out there, the most inspiring one. But just understand like the pain that you are going through within yourself. Like you have to
True.
manage so many things just by your own. So I guess this
Hmm.
law just brings down most of these things
Also,
in
Bhaiya,
the
there
history.
are many medical term layers. If I'll say, for
Yeah,
example, if
yeah.
a woman is conceived and it's been 5 months or 4 months, and sometimes doctors can detect. People go and they perform gene profiling, and they wanted to know if what are the chances of child getting a syndrome or having a
Mm.
mutated cell in their body. There are chances
Correct.
because in this era there are like 30% chances. So if this happens and the child is gonna like be living with that syndrome or deformity, will the
And
mother
yeah,
be happy knowing that the child is gonna be with this thing uh, even after even after giving birth to first child, and for the second one they can calculate. There are now medical devices which can calculate that. Okay, gene profiling says that your next child can carry this much thalassemia ka cells, this much down syndrome ka mutation ka chances, which is bad. And in that case, if she conceives and they cannot have abortion, think of the I mean, I cannot imagine the pain a mother goes through because she knows that the child is gonna bear that pain all his life, his or her life again. So
So this was
I'm totally.
this was Dr. Priyanka Mishra that you were listening to, ladies and gentlemen. She is
uh,
a doctor, not by choice, but by she has a hobby, I guess, of treating people, taking away their pain in a way. So yeah, you can
I've
reach
seen
out
one
to her.
close friend of mine going through the same, like her relative was going through the same pain. So I could see her closely.
I
The
understand.
surrounding people gets affected a lot, apart from mother. We all are
I
connected, right?
totally get
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
totally in the opposition team against abortion law.
Fine, fine, doctor. So yeah, our listeners can write to us at please say that again, mate, at gmail.com if they have any questions for Dr. Priya. Remember, she treats you in the best possible ways, even if you have a
I am not
pain
a
in your
doctor.
nail,
These days.
even if you have a
I
pain in your nail, she can give you some really good remedies, homemade remedies. Most of it is about
guys,
food.
it's not true, but yeah, aloe vera really works, guys. Just in case.
Told you, told you. Okay, Priya, before we wrap up, we had a good episode, right?
Yeah, I really
I
had a
mean,
great time.
this was heavy. We made a lot more sense than the previous episode. I believe so.
Yeah,
So
we
before
did.
we wrap up, before we wrap up quickly, top three Shah Rukh Khan movies.
First is DDLJ, then Devdas, then Swades is my personal, like, I cannot, I can still elaborate any scene from Swades
Okay,
and Devdas.
okay.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Hmm.
Next episode. So for
Okay,
me,
guys, I am very excited for the next episode because we
oh
both,
God,
me and KG Bhai are enthusiasts, Shah Rukh Khan
I
enthusiasts.
I love. So for me, top three would be DDLJ for sure.
Mm.
Then there will be Devdas. I mean,
Mm.
top two we just matched, and
Yeah.
third would be maybe Chak De before Swades.
Oh, okay.
I'll put Chak De before Swades.
Okay. I mean, then there is the list. This list might not
It
end
would have
because
been top 10, I know. Top three is
yeah,
very
top
tough.
10 should have been. Yeah, top three is very tough. Top three is very.
Okay, so before we wrap up, finally, I have got a surprise for you, Priya. Would you like to know what?
Ah, yes.
We got an email after our first episode, and that was from a guy, Nitin Shah. He wrote, of course, nothing to do with our home minister, not related to him in any way. So, Nitin writes to us saying that, guys, I just wanted to listen to podcasts for the very first time. He was exploring podcasts, actually, he was looking for some podcasts to listen, and
Okay.
he just found out our podcast. Of all the
Beautiful.
podcasts that are existing in the world,
Oh,
he
oh.
found out us and he really loved the banter that happened in the previous episode. And he also writes that, guys, please bring the episodes more frequently. So, Nitin, as you know, that our CEO, Dr. Priyanka Mishra, she's very busy with her work, and we usually work Monday to Friday, so we hardly get time. And we just started it as an experiment to see where we land. Do we have
Yeah.
enough content to talk about? Are we reachable enough to people? But
Yeah.
we are glad that you found us, you're listening to us, and do share it with your friends in
Thank
whatever
you so
format.
much, Nitin, first of all. This feels like a mini achievement, and now that Monday is in on my head, going the Monday fever is going on in my head, and your message just was like a garam chai. Okay,
Yeah,
things will be all right. Just go for it, guys. It was a little pat on our back. Thank you so much, Nitin.
yeah. Thanks, Nitin, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Do
Thank
follow
you,
us
guys.
on Spotify and wherever you are listening to our podcast. Remember, we release an episode every week, probably every Tuesday.
Yes.
So, yeah, we will see you next Tuesday and hope you like the topics. Do write us on please say that again, mate, at gmail.com if you have any feedback, suggestions, or topics that you want to discuss us on the podcast. And we'll keep working hard to bring up more fun conversation going forward. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you,
Priya.
guys. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Hey there, thanks for listening to the podcast. Just in case you liked the episode, do leave us a rating and follow us on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to. It'll be of great help if you share the podcast with your friends and tell them what podcast you're consuming. And you can also send us your questions, suggestions, feedbacks, and AMAs at please say that again, mate, at gmail.com, or you can DM us on our Instagram. Our handles are there in the description of the show. And with that, I'll take your leave and see you again next week.